Yo, it's Brian here. Today, talking about the San Francisco 49ers, as always, doing something a little bit different today. Not going to be doing edge position videos like I usually do every single week until now. Going to switch it up a little bit just because of the fact, in this one, to be honest with you, I'm looking at the roster for both the 49ers and Packers on paper. The 49ers, they just have a better roster, in my opinion. The only edge I would give the Packers in terms of everything in the position is the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers over Jimmy Garoppolo, because Rodgers, I still think he's a great quarterback, and Jimmy G, he's a little bit shaky in terms of the turnovers and what have you. That is really a big concern for me and everything, and that could be the big X factor, in my opinion, for the rest of the way from the championship game and potentially the Super Bowls. The edge videos, I'm not going to waste my time doing that, to be honest with you. Even the running back position, Aaron Jones, really great back. He's had a fantastic season, all those touchdowns, but for me, I'm still going to give it to the 49ers. Viking fans last week, they just went off on me. They thought I was crazy. They thought I was doing something crazy, like, I don't know, it was not good at all, and they would say Dalvin Cook, oh, he's going to be much better than the 49ers running backs, and well, the statistics will tell you otherwise on the Saturday divisional game. Packer fans, if you're going to get mad at me, then I'm sorry, I guess. So that's just a little bit of advance warning if you guys are watching this. But for this one, personally, I'm going to be just talking about both offense and defense and what I believe each team is good at, what is not good for both sides of the ball. So like offense, 49ers, offense, Packers, what they're good at and what they're not good at. And I'll be doing that for the defensive side of the ball as well. So I want to shake it up a little bit just because the edge videos, I think it's going to be a waste of time, to be honest with you. So yep, we're going to get this video started, but before I do, please like and subscribe. That's going to help out a lot. Click that bell notification, do all that cool stuff. That definitely helps me out a lot. And yeah, NFC Championship game. This is for the Super Bowl, so let's do it. 49ers versus Packers, who has the edge for both offense and defense, good and bad. First off, let's talk about the 49ers offense, what I love about it and what I hate about it at the same time. So first off, let's talk about the love. There's a lot to love about this offense. Number one, in my opinion, is Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, play caller, very creative, and we see it every single week for the whole 2019 season. He's just been impressive all year long, and I don't think he's had really one bad game for the 49ers offense and what have you. Jimmy Garoppolo, very talented quarterback. I'll talk more about him in the negative aspect in a little bit, but he can make all the plays. Clutch man, in the second half of the year, he really showed up and showed out, and I was really impressed with him. He surprised me big time with all the games that were very close, and he was able to make it through, like the Saints game, the Rams game, the Seahawks game. They were just all impressive. So Jimmy G, lots of credit. The running game, in my opinion, one of the best in the NFL, and it's quote-unquote with a bunch of nobodies. For the Vikings game, who had a hot hand, it was Tevin Coleman. Raheem Mostert was running the ball for the second half of the season, but now Coleman was the guy in Minnesota. So in the Green Bay's case, you got to be careful on who you think is going to go off. So really, my thing about the running back by committee is that you got to play for three running backs, three really good running backs, instead of just one dominant back like the Packers and Aaron Jones. The 49ers, they played all for Dalvin Cook, and it was really effective because he only had 18 rushing yards the whole game against the 49ers in the divisional round. So running game, I'm in love with. Kyle Juszczyk, very big part of the running game. That's the part that a lot of people don't talk about, but he's a really big part of it, and the pass catching as well. And speaking of that, Deebo Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders, those guys, they can go off. Kendrick Bourne, one of my favorite and least favorite receivers for the 49ers, because he can make some nice plays on third down. He can score touchdowns in the red zone, but the problem with him is the catches. Sometimes he can just drop easy balls, and yeah, I mean, his hands, they can be really good or they can be really bad. It kind of reminds me of Ted Ginn Jr., but a little bit better in my opinion than Ginn, but sometimes it can annoy me a bit during the offense. And for me, the biggest X factor in every single game is definitely George Kittle, the tight end. One of the best in the NFL. If you want to put Travis Kelce up there, then you can definitely put him up there. But for me personally, love me some Kittle, WWE, man. He can do it all. He catch the ball, block as well, and that's the big part that gives the edge for the 49ers offense a little bit, just because Kittle could do a lot in the running game as well. He's not just a pass catcher where he's just catching balls, kind of like Jimmy Graham with the Packers, because he is a really good pass catcher, but he doesn't really block that often. In his whole career, he doesn't really block from his time in New Orleans, Seattle, and now in Green Bay. Kittle, he could do everything, and he's the prototypical tight end that everyone would like to have today. So, George Kittle, one of my favorites. Offensive line, but that bye week was really beneficial to them because they just absolutely bullied Minnesota's defensive line with Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, and Danielle Hunter. Like, it was just an absolute bullying of that defensive line, and that's a pretty good line. I'm pretty sure you guys in Green Bay know that by now, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. 49ers offensive line, 49ers offense in general, very good, clicking. The one thing that I hate about this 49ers offense is Jimmy G and the turnovers. They can hurt big time, especially in this championship game and potentially the Super Bowl. If he makes a big mistake in the wrong time, then it could be game over for the 49ers. So that's the one thing I'm concerned about. Another thing is just mental errors and what have you. just the stuff that they can beat themselves, and that's not a good thing. So really, this 49ers offensive line led by Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo, very efficient offense. They can beat you in the run. They can beat you in the passing game. You make Jimmy G throw the ball. For the most part, he'll come through, except the interceptions. Other than that, I love the 49ers offense, and let's talk about the Packers right now. Packers offense, what's good and bad about them, and in the end, I'm going to pick an edge on who I like better in terms of the offense. First off, let's talk about the good about them. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, the Aaron brothers, they've been very effective all year long. I don't know what else to say about them. With Jones' presence, Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't had to do too much all year long. This is probably the first year where I've seen a little bit more relaxed. He hasn't had to be Mr. Clutchman that often like he has been for the past couple of years. He's been able to just calm down, run the ball, make the nice plays, and not turn the ball over as much. And we all know that Rodgers doesn't turn the ball over as much, so that's a good thing right there. They do have some nice pieces. They have Jimmy Graham and Devontae Adams. Definitely Adams, probably the best receiver in this game, in my opinion, out of all the receivers for the 49ers and Packers NFC Championship game. Got to give him a lot of credit for what he's done all year long. He did a really good job against Seattle in the divisional round. Jimmy Graham, very effective as well. He had a crucial first down near the end of the game to pretty much seal the game, so that's really good for him. And the offensive line for the Packers, they're not that bad, actually. For the past couple of years, they've been struggling in terms of that, but this year they've been actually pretty good, led by Brian Bulaga and company. Actually, Bulaga, he was hurt in the game against the 49ers early on when they met up on Sunday Night Football, so I expect him to be fully healthy for this game. But yeah, looking at their offense, it looks pretty good. Some things that I don't like about their offense is pretty much the defense for the 49ers. It's going to be really relentless. The first time they struggle big time to protect Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams couldn't really get anything going. The receiving core, the running game, Aaron Jones was pretty much shut down in that game. So if they can't stop that 49ers defensive line, then I think it's going to be a very bad day for the Packers and company. But other than that, like their offense, it's a little bit conservative, but at the same time, it's a good thing to be conservative with a good running game and a good defense as well. So Rodgers doesn't have to do too much. But when his number has to get called, if they're down like 20-0, the 49ers, they should not get too comfortable with that. They should be able to just keep playing football, and they'll beat this offense definitely. So looking at it, like their offense, but for me, if I had to give an edge in terms of the offense as a whole, I have to give it to the 49ers just because of the weapons that they have. And Kyle Shanahan, he's very creative. He just knows what to do with offense, running game, passing game. Jimmy Garoppolo, he knows how to use all his pieces, and they are very effective all year long. So edge for the offense, definitely San Francisco, although you cannot count Aaron Rodgers out and Matt LaFleur. My favorite part of defense, 49ers and Packers, who to give the edge to in terms of the whole side of the ball. I mean, if you look at it position by position, I think the 49ers beat them in every single category in terms of the defensive line, linebackers, and defensive backs. Defensive line, you can give a nice case with the Smith brothers, Preston and Zadarius Smith, but I'll talk about them in a second. So first off, 49ers defense, what I love about them definitely is their pass rush. I mean, it is relentless. We saw the game against the Minnesota Vikings, fully healthy. Nick Bosa, Dee Ford, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, they can get at you every single time. They don't blitz that often, but they don't need to, and that's a mark of a good defense, is not blitzing often. I think they only blitz maybe 10% of the time, but it feels like only 1% of the time they decide to blitz. They're very effective, and we all know when fully healthy, they're one of the best defenses in the NFL. And it starts with the defensive line. They just bully Minnesota's offensive line. Kirk Cousins could not get anything going in that game. Dalvin Cook, 18 rushing yards to held that great running back to 18 rushing yards. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty effective, in my opinion. Next up, the linebacking core for the 49ers, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, effective all year long. Greenlaw, he had a pretty good day, in my opinion, against the Minnesota Vikings. Kwon Alexander coming back. I think that's one of the big boosters of this whole defense. Dee Ford, Jaquiski, Tartt coming back. That's really important. But having Alexander back, the energy man, the guy that starts everything, sets the tone. He is a really inspirational person, not just as a football player, but as a person. To overcome a pectoral injury and come back quickly for the playoffs, for this nice playoff run, I think that's really inspirational, and that's legendary. So Kwon, got to give him a lot of credit. One of my favorite players for the 49ers. Defensive back for the 49ers, everyone looks pretty good. Richard Sherman, all-pro cornerback. He picked up Adam Thielen when Kirk Cousins did the mortal sin of throwing it at his direction, and it cost him with an interception, definitely. Emmanuel Mosley, I'm assuming he's going to be the starter for the 49ers. It cannot be Akella Witherspoon because he is definitely in the doghouse after what happened early on against the Vikings, Stephon Diggs touchdown. So he's definitely not going to be starting this game. It better be Emmanuel Mosley. Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski, Tartt together. They are effective. They've been great all year long when they're both healthy. And having Tartt back, that is a big difference. Not a lot of people are talking about that one as much as Dee Ford and Kwon, but definitely him coming back, that's a big difference in the secondary. And that's why we the number one passing defense in the NFL all year long. So 49ers defense, it looks really complete when healthy, and it was on full display against the Minnesota Vikings. The bad thing about the 49ers defense really is maybe the pass rush a little bit, the health. I mean, it's nice to have. It would be nice to have our depth guys in the defensive line with Ronald Blair and DJ Jones, but other than that, I can't really see a lot of cons with the 49ers defense. I see a lot of pros, and all year long, they've been the number one defense, in my opinion, in the NFL. I don't count the Patriots that much. But, yeah, San Francisco, they've been great all year. And I don't know what else to say about them. Very effective with Nick Bosa and company. Next up, let's talk about the Packers defense. Similar to the 49ers in the sense that they can get to the quarterback. I mean, you got the Smith brothers in terms of Darius Smith and Preston Smith. I think they both had 2 or 2.5 seconds against Russell Wilson in the divisional round. Very impressive. Smith was causing trouble for us in the first meeting against Jimmy G and company. But I think that wasn't with Joe Staley completely healthy at that time, but at the same time, very effective in that game, and that was the only bright spot in that 37-8 victory over the Packers for the 49ers. Other things to like about, I mean, their secondary is kind of okay. They can make some nice plays. Kevin King, he's a pretty good defensive back. Amos is kind of okay. He's not too bad often, and I mean, it's not as good as San Francisco's, but at the same time, they can make some plays as well, and the defense is a big reason why they've been 13-3 all year long, and they got a nice win over Seattle. They were able to make some plays, and they're not a flashy defense like San Francisco's, but at the same time, they get the job done, and it's good enough for them to maybe win this game, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough decision for me tomorrow when I make prediction videos. But yeah, I mean, if I had to give the edge, definitely I would give it to San Francisco hands down in terms of the talent, the plays that Robert Saleh gives to the players. There's no comparison here, to be honest with you. Although the pass rush for the Packers, that is a little bit concerning. But just looking at everyone from the linebackers all the way to the defensive backs for the 49ers, it's a complete defense. And switching Witherspoon to Emmanuel Mosley, the defense looks unstoppable. I don't know if the Packers and Aaron Rodgers can stop them, but we'll see what happens then. But for me, giving the edge to San Francisco's defense, and I don't know what else to say. Coaching for the last part, Kyle Shanahan versus Matt LaFleur. They both coached together, I think, in Washington when Mike Shanahan was there. So if I had to give the edge, I would give it to Kyle Shanahan just because, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, he's a great coach, and he's the innovator of everything in San Francisco. I guess he technically has more experience, maybe just because he's been in the Super Bowl with the Falcons. They blew a 28-3 lead, but at the same time, he was the offensive coordinator then. Matt LaFleur, I think he was in the Super Bowl with the Rams when they played the Patriots, but that was not a good day for them. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to give the initial edge, I would give it to definitely Kyle Shanahan. I think he's been doing a great job in San Francisco, and he's been a big reason why they turned around this season. Matt LaFleur, got to give him a lot of credit for what he's done in Green Bay as well, 13-3, first year, making Aaron Rodgers' life easier, which is a big surprise because a lot of people thought they were going to struggle together, but can't take anything away from him as well. So, yep, that's it, guys. I mean, San Francisco, look at the roster. It looks top to bottom almost better than Green Bay. The quarterback position, I think that's going to be the biggest X factor in terms of it. Who makes the least amount of mistakes, who's been able to make the nice play, and who can clutch it in the end. That's it, guys. I'm going to end this video right here. Please let me know what you guys got in terms of this. I like to hear what you guys say in the comments below. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe. That's going to help out a lot. I'll be catching you guys up tomorrow for predictions. I'll see y'all then. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Go Niners all day for the NFC Championship.